This is John McNamara, host, Ron in Vegas. We're talking local sports, business, real estate, with co-host Mr.
Rodrigo. Always happy to be here, sir. And for everybody out there listening, if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, please subscribe, drop a comment, leave a heart, I don't know, turn on the alerts, notifications, do what you can. Leave us a smoke signal if you can, but let us know how we're doing. Give us some feedback.
Like it all. I appreciate it. All right, so we got a special guest today, Samantha Giacomino, sales executive, Fidelity National Title. Thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Excited to have you on.
Yeah.
I like how you said that last name.
I know. I've been practicing all morning.
Very proud of you.
Yep. Rodrigo helped me out a little bit.
Very Italian.
Very Italian.
So Sam, tell us about you. Where are you from? How'd you move to Vegas? How'd you get in this field?
All right. So I am originally from Jersey.
Oh.
I've been in Vegas since I was 8th row, grew up here, went to school here. I love Vegas. I am a huge fan. How I got into title and escrow was actually a fellow escrow officer. My daughter had started cheer when she was 4 years old, and one of the moms was in escrow and was like, have you ever thought of being a title rep? And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I still say to the Sam, like, misery loves company, because you like bring somebody into this crazy industry. But she saw something years ago, and she's like, we're hiring. You should come check it out. And I did. And I actually was not a fan in the very beginning, to be 100% honest with you. It was so cutthroat. I was super green to the real estate industry in general. And I'm like, get me out of here. I got into home warranty, did home warranty for 2 years, and absolutely loved it.
Okay.
Loved home warranty, loved that I was selling a product and not like another human being. So I just had a little bit more control over my services.
Okay.
But then the opportunity came to get back into title, and I kind of jumped on it 2 years ago now. And so here we are, and I am with an incredible team, best support system over at Fidelity National Title, and I'm just flourishing. Had my best month actually in July.
Wow.
Congrats.
Yeah, in the last 2 years. So super exciting to just keep growing and see where we go.
That's exciting.
Sky's the limit. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's so interesting, because you said you didn't like title, went to home warranty and loved it, and then got back into title. So what was like, hey, I'm going to transition back into something I didn't really like?
To be completely honest with you, it was the money.
Okay.
Home warranty just did not pay the same.
Yeah.
And so when I started getting offers from title, it was tempting. And I had a little bit more knowledge, right? Now I've been in the industry for a little bit longer. I knew more agents. My relationships were a lot stronger. And so I got back in, and I actually got back in with a smaller title company, which was great to get my foot back in the door. But because title and escrow is just its own beast, I wanted some more support. And Julie Cimrelli over at Fidelity just is an incredible leader and so supportive and just a wealth of knowledge. My whole team over there is a wealth of knowledge. Anything I have a question about, they've got your back.
Yeah.
And so I've been there about a year now.
Great.
And it's just been incredible. Mm-hmm.
Good to hear. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's always, I know, like real estate, the first 18, 24 months, it's rough. So
Yeah.
could completely relate to that.
It was kind of the same. Yeah.
Or even the first 5 years. So
Right.
it's good you stuck it out and kept going. Now you're really enjoying it.
I am. I love what I do. I love the relationship. It's relationship building, right? Just like with you guys. What you guys do for your clients is essentially what I'm doing for you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So talk more about that. So what do you do to build relationships with agents and attract them?
So support for every agent. You all run your businesses very different. So every business plan looks a little bit different. But as a title rep, a sales executive, my job is to support you guys. So whatever that looks like, if it's pulling farms, helping to get leads, open house kits, anything to support our agents to get new business is what I help out with.
Nice.
Makes sense. Yeah, and you're great at it because I love the response time because I'll shoot you a text and you'll email me back or text me. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it is. That's true, right? Because I know my own clients. It's they're all different. And you got to approach them differently. Because I know myself, I'm not the. I don't want the title rep necessarily calling me all the time and having conversations. It's more of through text and email.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and for me, I need it text and email because I need it in writing because we're on, just like with you, we're on the go all the time, right?
Yeah.
So if you call me right now and I'm like, yeah, I'll get that to you, and then I'm talking to Rod. 2 minutes later, now I forgot everything you just said.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Happens to me.
So text and email, right? Anything in writing so we can check it off our list.
Yeah.
That's funny because that's exactly what you and I were talking about this morning about texting and how to text back. And my rule is like text back as soon as possible because I'll forget.
Yeah.
And even at the end of the day, I'll go through my texts and some of my emails and be like, there's always one or two you forget. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
I try not to read them, like check them as read until I'm ready to write.
Yes.
I do the same.
Yeah,
it could be so overwhelming too, because we were talking like not just text messages alone, but social media and people you're connecting with, and obviously we have to have a social profile out there, and it's hard to separate like, all right, who's just wasting your time, who's actually your friends, who's actually business,
Right.
Who do I? Yeah.
Who's a spam account?
Who's
that's
a
not even a
spam
real
account?
person.
Like, yeah. So
Right.
who could potentially be a lead? Do they want to buy a home? Like, yeah. So
Right.
it's very hard to control all of that. And I think I have like 50 unread messages on my cell phone right now.
I was gonna say, how do you guys control all of those?
I just feel bad for my close friends and family because I know I put them last. And I'm sorry. Shout out everybody out there.
I don't feel so bad now.
This business comes first, but it could be intimidating too because I know we're pretty hardcore. Like, hey, did you get my email? And did you respond to me telling me you read it?
Right.
And sometimes it'll create a little bit of a war between us. Like, hey man, I didn't get that received response.
Animosity.
Yeah, communication is key, right?
Yeah.
I know for myself, it's like my tight circle, they get responses pretty quickly. And then, and as you know, too, in business, time is money. So responding to clients, it does need to be on, pretty quick, if you want to retain those
Because they'll
relationships.
move on to the next.
Oh, for sure.
Same with you. Same with us.
Yeah.
If you reach out to me for a farm and you're like, oh, Sam's not getting back to me,
Yep.
or you need an information on a house, and I'm not getting back, you're moving on to the next,
Absolutely.
right? Next
Yeah.
title
Yeah.
rep that you've got, you're
Yeah, sales is it's 24/7 all the time. That's why it's tough because you can't have a bad day.
right.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. Like
What?
you can lose those relationships
Yeah.
real quick. So,
100%.
yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you go through with this job, and how do you overcome them?
So, like you just said, you can't have a bad day, right? But we are all human, so sometimes we do have bad days, or we're in our feelings, or something's going on in your personal life, and you're trying to keep it together. And we're salespeople, so we're squirrely as it is, and all over the place. And then you add in anything from the outside and just trying to kind of stay focused, stay in front of people. We're constantly trying to get new agents and new contacts and build new relationships, but you can't forget about your old relationships, right? So you're still trying to nurture them and touch them. And when you first start, you don't have a ton of people, right? So it's kind of easy to keep close. But as you start growing, as your spheres gets bigger and your referrals get bigger, staying on top of everybody and making everybody feel loved, right? Just like you got to make your clients feel loved, I got to make my agents and lenders feel loved, or when they get a deal, again, who's at top of mind?
Yeah.
It's like we need to try to stay top of mind of everybody, which is not always the easiest thing to do. Right?
It's not. So do you have like a touch system or like a CRM for agents, and just so you like call, email, all that stuff? Like how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. But still, sometimes people
Fall in the cracks.
fall through
the cracks.
and everybody, again, just like we run our businesses all a little bit different. everybody likes different touches, right?
That's
Some
true.
agents are totally fine getting an email from me or barely hearing from me at all. And then I've got some agents that like want to talk on a weekly basis, you know, or a couple times a week basis. So it's also trying to figure out what are your needs from me and making sure that I'm staying on top of that for you. So it's a balancing act.
Do you ask that directly, or you just kind of like feel it out when you're working with an agent?
Kind of try to fill it out. I mean, I also, at the beginning of our, you know, when I'm first meeting somebody for the first time, you kind of have those conversations about expectations, right? Like, what are your expectations from me? And we kind of set that ahead of time. But then as you get to know people, like, and your clients become friends, right? So I've got some agents that'll reach out like, hey, we're gonna go do like a workout class today. Like a lot of my agents are True Fusion people. So, or they'll see me with one agent at True Fusion and they're like, hey, I wanna go with you. And so they become friends, which is cool because then it almost makes it easy. Like once my agents get on more of that personal level, just like you would reach out to, you know, friends or your wife or whatever, it just becomes second nature, but it's just getting there.
Yeah, it's fun when you like the person that you work with, for
100%.
sure. Yeah, it makes it go a lot smoother in ways, right? Because the trust is there. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
I've been working with John for 5 years now, and we're almost to that personal
Almost
level.
there?
Almost friends.
Almost going to True Fusion together?
Almost. You go to True Fusion together.
Someday we'll be friends.
Yeah, someday.
I love
But
that.
that's awesome, though. Yeah, spending outside of work
that
related
quality time.
activities. Yeah, and it just opens people up, right? And they can be more sincere, honest, and direct with their expectations.
100. And when things start to get ugly, they trust you're going to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have that close relationship with them, if something goes sideways, which it does, right?
Yep.
Especially in our industry, things go sideways. And if you don't have that little extra closeness of a relationship, I feel like it's easy to walk away. Where if you can come to me and be like, Sam, like what's going on here? Like, and we can fix it, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as long as you can create wins and folks take responsibility. I know that's what I do with my clients because we all screw up at one point. Like that's reality, right? It's going to happen, right? Yeah. But as long as you take responsibility, come up with a solution, and make sure it doesn't happen again, you can usually mend that relationship and continue moving it forward.
100.
So.
Communication is key, I feel like, in our industry.
Yeah, I remember I used to work with a title company for years, and we had a falling out on a file, and basically they ended up kind of blaming me. You know, it was going bad. The client was there in St. John and it was like instant for me. They were gone.
Right.
And it was like, and I remember just thinking like, this is so silly for them to do this because they didn't want to look bad at the table when the closing was going on. And I moved on. I was like, there's no way of repairing that. You know, sometimes you got to be good guy or bad guy. Like sometimes you just got to be the bad guy in that moment, whatever
100%.
it is. It's like you got to pick who you choose. You know, so.
I agree with you. And being on the title side, I would much rather us take the lash and and be like, oh, sorry, than you guys, right? Because that's your client that you brought to us.
Right.
Yeah.
And we want to keep that because if they bought once, they're probably going to buy and sell again. And, so it's so important for me to make sure, for Fidelity to make sure we make you guys look good in the eyes of your clients. Right?
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize a lot of the times when things go south, it could be the lending, it could be the title, it could be whatever it is.
The other side.
Yeah.
What it comes back down to, what the client remembers, is the agent screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it's so important to have these really important relationships where people you can trust, because we go through a vetting process with everybody that we work with, because it is so important to have a team that we're all on the same page, we're all working, we can all trust each other, we can communicate. Because especially with title, a lot of times it's like it's on the wire, right? Like we got 48 hours to close it and things.
Yeah.
And the title company's not on it, then it can create a lot of stress during the process. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and we're really happy too with the way things have been. So
good.
We're happy for you and the team over at Fidelity.
Thank you. We enjoy working with you guys too.
Oh, we love it. Yeah. We look forward to more. But besides communication, what are some other strategies that you guys use to ensure that everyone is satisfied?
So our escrow office, this kind of goes into the escrow officer side of things, right? Because again, as the sales exec, I'm helping to bring in the business. Once the business is in, escrow officer takes over, runs the desk, runs your files, title department. Being a couple steps ahead is extremely helpful because we're on time crunches, right? Because everything has to be done by a certain time. Being ahead of things. So if once escrow is opened, for the escrow officer to be able to go through, see what liens are on the property, what is messy, ugly, what could potentially set us back, right? So they can get ahead of it, so we can, again, be ahead of it before it becomes an issue, before it slows down, before we can't close on time, right? We want to ensure a smooth transaction that closes timely, for you guys, for your clients, again, to make you guys look good, especially when you're trusting us. Most homeowners, buyers, sellers, while it's their choice of the title company, half of them, most of them, don't even know who. They're like, what's title and escrow? Like, what is that?
Right.
So they're essentially trusting you, right? To choose, like, well, who's good?
Right.
And you give them a couple names. But if it ends up being, you pick a crappy title company and the transaction is just a mess and awful and it doesn't close on time and things don't get paid off, they're looking at you. I mean, while they're like, I'll never work with that title company again, they're going to be like, John gave me, XYZ title company and it was awful.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
There goes your credibility. I mean, because,
No, I love that you brought this up, and I'd love to hear that as well, because our team, we're all about pre-pacing our transaction corner. We pre-pace. We take a listing, we pre-pace. We get the buyer under contract, we pre-pace. It's such an important part of the process, because because unfortunately the reality is, we got to keep this in mind, most buyers and sellers, they buy or sell a house maybe once every 5 to 10 years.
Right.
They're not used to it. It's a very emotional thing. So to them, when something is coming out of left field, it's a lot for them. So when you have us pre-pacing, we have you guys pre-pacing with a lender when everybody's pre-pacing, it doesn't feel, as emotional, right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge part of the process. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and when everyone's on the same page and pre-pacing at the same page, that's when truly it's a blessing, right? Like you could feel really comfortable. If anything comes up, hey, you heard it from them, you heard it from me, everybody's on board. We all kind of hinted at you that this might come up, we have to delay, we have to extend, whatever it is.
Right.
Then, we still look, we cover our own bags and we look good.
Yeah, it's a lot easier conversation as, hey, remember when we talked about this? And it's hard. It is a lot of information. The clients aren't going to remember everything, right? But that's why we have emails. We have all these things, and we can go back, and it's a lot easier conversation. So,
absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah, and I was going to say on that, too, building the relationship, because we can have each other's backs, right? When we're all, as you build with a title company, so you're using, your preferred title company or a title company that you already have a relationship with, you can kind of feed off each other, right? Like, I know how you work, you know how we work, so we can kind of move smoother throughout the transaction without having to like, oh crap, he didn't do this or they didn't do that, or this is, as you're working with Kathy, it's always the same way. And so, and Kathy knows how you work. So when a transaction comes over, it's just a whole lot more seamless than when it's the first, it's the first time you're playing with a new team, right?
Yeah.
It could be kind of like messy and ugly and nobody knows what anybody's doing, but the more you work together, you kind of know everybody's next move.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
Yeah, unfortunately in our industry, I don't know why it's like this, but I know, like, before I never really cared about what title company, when I first got in the business, but the more you use it, because the reality of this industry is we have these relationships, and all these agents want to use their title.
Right.
And typically when we use the other title company, that's not you guys, it's not smooth. We're thrown under the bus. And there's good title companies out there.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of good ones.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it is not the same experience. So that's why it is important to fight for your team, because we absolutely know it's most likely going to be a smoother transaction.
Right.
So.
And while I will say, I mean, there are some amazing escrow officers that work for other companies that I absolutely love, and I know they're going to get the job done.
Yeah.
But everybody is not created equal, and there are some that are not quite as good, and it could totally screw up your entire transaction, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it can go. And when you're not directing or when you don't have a say, or it ends up being somebody else's and it ends up just being terrible and there's nothing you can do.
You know, and unfortunately, and it's such a big part of this process is so important because this is the last thing the client's going to remember you with.
Right.
And if it
That's
goes
true.
bad, they're not using you again.
No.
They like you in the beginning and they like you at the end. And if they don't like you at the end, they're gone.
Right.
And you're gone, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's the biggest transaction that most people are going to make in their entire life.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's their entire savings. It's where they raised their babies. It's where they got married. It's so many things,
Yeah.
right? And so whether they're buying it for the first time or whether they're selling it after 20 years of all of these memories,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
A bad experience, a good experience, you know, people are appreciative of, but a bad experience, they're going to yell it from rooftops,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, for sure.
So
Share that story in every barbecue.
every barbecue. Every barbecue.
Oh, yeah, for
And it
sure.
happens.
Yeah.
That guy John.
I'm sure I got a lot of those.
You're,
His name's Rodrigo.
our names are brought up in a lot of barbecues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, happy 5th anniversary on the team.
Oh, thank you. Look at that.
Happy anniversary. We're celebrating after this, right?
We are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, get back to you, though. So, so how do you stay ahead of market trends? I'm curious because the NAR settlement came up. You know, now we're all dealing with it. I'm sure you got agents calling you. You have things going on. How do you stay ahead of market trends and everything that's going on right now with the craziness of real estate in the last month?
Well, again, the company that I'm with, obviously, is nationwide, and we have attorneys. We've got all the backing in the world that helps to keep us on top of things, and then also our relationships. You know, we've been around for so long that we have some incredible relationships with some of the best brokers in town, and so we partner with them. We talk to them. We invite them into our offices to speak on the stuff, because that's really where you should not be going to your title companies for information on NAR. You should be going to your brokers. But those relationships, you know, we keep us up to date on things. You know, we learn what we need to learn on them, staying up to date.
Yeah.
It's
classes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have classes again at other offices. We bring the brokers into our office to host classes. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of, I love that office space over at West Sunset. Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
great space, great location.
Yeah.
It really is.
I know John taught a class there a couple months back, and it's such a great use of space. I love that you guys provide that.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
like you came in to we're always welcoming our agents and lenders to come in, use that space for your clients.
Yeah.
You know, for your clients, for other agents to help educate.
Yeah, we appreciate it. That was a fun class.
It was a fun crowd. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
That was great. It was fun to see you teach.
Thank you.
You're a good teacher.
You're a good teacher.
Yeah.
No,
you.
it was great information. It's always fun to see the agents doing something different, you know?
Yeah.
Because we don't really get to see you like that.
No, yeah.
Well, we're going to do more of it because we're going to start doing we have a buyer presentation of
Awesome.
everything that's going on. So we're definitely going to be hitting you up for that for sure. So
Let's do it.
I'm excited
Ready
for
for
it.
it,
So,
absolutely.
So do you have any advice for maybe agents or brokers out there to how to, through how to interact with the title company, to help the process move forward, or any recommendations with that?
Communication. Again, I will be a broken record when it comes to communication is key. We have to communicate. If there's expectations, again, that you guys have, let us know. If something is not quite going the way that you feel like it should, because again, everybody works differently. Every agent has different needs in a transaction if you've got certain clients that maybe they're a brand new first time home buyer and they're super neurotic about things. Those are things to share with us. I tell my agents too, if you're in the middle of a transaction, right, because I'm your first line of defense. We met first and then we introduce you, to our escrow officers. If something isn't going how you were expecting, call me. Pick up Sam. I haven't heard back. I sent an email 2 days ago. What's going? Let me know. I don't want to know after the transaction. Sometimes I'll get notification after the transaction's done that hey, this didn't meet my expectation, and I'm like, cool. Why didn't you tell me 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Because I can fix things. I am here for you throughout the entire transaction. While I am, that relationship builder, out in the field, bringing the agents in, I also want to keep that relationship throughout the transaction. And if things are not going as smooth as you liked or what you thought was going to happen, let me know.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I like that. I think it's funny you said 2 days because I think I got on you for like 2 hours one day.
That's why I
My
laughed.
TC hasn't heard from you guys in 2 hours. So
But
we're,
again, if that's the expectation, I want to
we have
know.
very high expectations.
Yeah.
And you did respond, so thank you.
I try.
I love that point, though. Yeah, leverage it out to the title companies, right? Especially, I would say 2 things. If you have a very analytical client that has 1,000 questions, you know, if they
absolutely.
can leverage to you.
Oh, 100%.
And obviously,
Let's not play telephone.
yes.
Right?
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
Yeah.
So, or yeah, I love that too with a first-time home buyer. They have 1,000, and they always will, and it's
Right.
you got to be very patient with first-time home buyers for sure. So,
Yeah.
great point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like how you said, give me time to resolve things. Give me time to correct
100%.
things. Like, yeah, it's
If I
leaving
don't
it-
know, I can't fix it, right?
for sure.
You know, and sometimes it's a little, because again, there are some agents that go through the shit and they're like, I don't want to know anything, don't. And then there are agents that are like, they want to hear from somebody which is fine.
Yeah, it's true.
Both are fine.
Yeah.
We just need to know. Like, I need to know. If it's 2 hour, you expect a response in 2 hours, call me.
Yeah.
Because I know where these CEOs work.
Yeah.
I can get a hold of them, even if I got to, drive my butt to the office.
Yeah.
Like, we get you taken care of.
You
Like,
do.
we will absolutely get you taken
I
care of.
appreciate it. You guys do a
Of
great
course.
job.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, besides real estate and title, what do you do for fun?
All of the things.
Oh.
I mean,
Give us your top 3
I love-
things.
I love to travel. Who doesn't love to travel?
Right.
But like, I love to travel, and it's actually a joke in my family. Like, anytime anybody brings up anywhere, I'm like, oh, I want to go. I want to
Yeah.
go. And they're like, you'd go anywhere. I would absolutely go anywhere once.
Yeah.
Because who are you to say, oh, if that place is crappy? You wouldn't. Well, no. Maybe I want to check it out. Maybe I'll love it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I love to travel anywhere, whether it's in a car, plane, boat, like whatever. Anything outdoorsy. I love hiking. Like,
Nice.
you can find me on the weekends up in the mountain. And that's what I love about Vegas. We have I always say we've got hot mountains, we've got cold mountains. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to be at Red Rock, and it's a little
Yes.
bit warmer. If you want to go up to Mount Charleston where it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
We've got all the mountains here. And I just love being outside. I know we were talking about golf earlier,
Yeah.
and I've never golfed a day in my life, but I just went to a golf tournament last weekend and had a blast, and now I'm like, I want to go golf. I don't know how to golf, but it was just fun being out on the green.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
It's
And
fun.
Yeah.
yeah, socializing, and
Yeah.
the people were all amazing. So
Yeah.
anything outdoors, I am just a huge adventure outdoors. Brunch on a patio. Always invite me to brunch on a patio. Like,
So that's
I
all
just
the
love
things that you and I like. So
Yeah.
we have a lot in common.
I can tell why we get along. Yeah. And we all go to True Fusion. So
Yeah.
oh,
That
you guys
too.
really do go to True Fusion?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
We're addicted.
we're there.
Yeah, we're there.
We'll be there 5:45 a.m. tomorrow.
I love it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit too, because you're from Jersey. When did you move here?
I moved here when I was 8.
Okay.
So funny, my parents have been together since high school.
Okay.
They honeymooned here after they got married, and my mom was 18, my dad was 21, and my dad wanted to stay then. When my mom was like, all of her East Coast, like, family, we're obviously Italian, and family is like, you're tight. And my mom was like, I cannot move away from my family. Like, she had
Right.
just graduated high school.
Yeah.
But years later, after 3 kids, we actually moved here with 2 other families. Our dads were all dealers at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. So they all moved out here to open MGM.
That's great.
Yeah, so years later,
That's
moved out here and have been here. And again, I love Vegas. When people talk like, oh, I hate Vegas, I want to, I'm like, what do you hate? The 30-minute commute to the
Yeah.
furthest, from one side of town to the other, like the fact that things are open all night. I mean, the weather.
It's folks from the Midwest. That's what I've noticed.
Right? Like, what do you hate?
That's what I've noticed though. Everybody from the Midwest is like, we're not, people from Vegas are not that nice. But if you're from the Northeast, I'm from New York, you're from New Jersey, we're not nice people.
Yeah.
So you're a nice person.
I'm like, well, I
You're a nice person. But people in general in the Northeast, we're a
Right.
little rough around the edges, right?
Right.
So I love Vegas. I've been here for 15 years, just like you.
Yeah.
Sunshine. I would not move back to New York.
Right?
So, yeah.
I'm like, well, you know what? We're rough around the edge. We're rough around the edges, but we're nice. We're just rough with how we come out with things.
Yeah, it takes us a minute.
Right? Like,
Well, I think we're nicer than most people from the Northeast, but that's my opinion.
Because we're in sales. You gotta be nice.
Right. But
We
deep
get
down
paid to be
inside,
nice.
I don't want to be nice.
We don't like anybody. We love everyone, but we don't like anybody, right?
I know. I'm judging in my mind.
Oh. Where are you from, Rodrigo?
Originally from Lima, Peru.
Oh, well, that's really fun.
Yeah, far.
So how did you get
I'm a very
here?
nice person, not rough around the edges.
Okay.
You are a nice person.
It's like we're just all good people.
Yeah,
right?
Back in I moved out here in 2000 when I was
Okay.
maybe 10 years old.
Okay.
So
what
been
brought you here?
My mom just landed a job out here, and she moved out, and she was settled in, and my family followed, and
Awesome.
the rest is history.
And y'all love it here?
Can't hate it.
I know. Well, some people do.
It's always been an opportunity town. Treat us well, especially as immigrants. There was always opportunity for us for work, for growth. Education was always great. So
Yeah.
everybody's been settled in. So now I cannot imagine. I just joke around with John, tell him I'm going to move somewhere just so he can freak out. But
He's like, you have fun.
yeah, he's like,
You'll be back.
You'll be part of wherever you go. You'll be part of the MAC team. But
Right?
We've done this before. So. I like your patterns, but they're not working on me.
you know me.
Yeah, I love the city, how modern it's growing, and it's not like New York, well, upstate. I don't know what part of Jersey you're from, but those areas were just kind of like falling apart, and
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah.
Which, it's beautiful and it has its charm, right? But it's also nice to be here and things are constantly updating and moving and we're, again, grow. Like,
Yeah, it's incredible how fast it
Yeah.
grows. Like there might be one project in upstate New York a year, and we have a couple projects a month in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's any projects where I was from in Jersey. So it all
Yeah.
looks the same as it did
Probably
30
not.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna wrap this up. I want to thank the best co-host in the business, Rodrigo, in the house,
Sir, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
and
Sam.
thank you, Sam, for being on.
Thanks for having me.
If you're an agent out there, hit Sam up. Their team is amazing. We've really enjoyed working with them. And guys, this is Run in Vegas. And take care of yourselves today.
Have a great day.